Hello.
Hi there.
I'm
Hi.
Steve.
I'm Nina.
It's wonderful to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Thanks for taking
Hi,
the time.
I'm
to
Greg.
As well?
I am.
Okay, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to
So,
meet you.
Greg and I are minority shareholders and advisors, but three as a crowd on stage.
Alright.
So,
So, do I ask questions, all of you, or?
We can direct
so
them
ask
to
questions
Patrick
and
and
then,
we'll jump in as needed.
All right, great. Well, thank you. One of the first questions I had as I was listening to your pitch was that, give me some idea about the people who you would be offering this service to. What is the profile of a typical person outside of the fact that this is what they do, whether it has to do with architecture or structure and all that. But, from a technology savviness point of view, from a use of mobile devices, income, ability to use technology.
Sure.
So just give me a profile of that person.
I think that the type of person to most quickly adopt this will be someone who's about my age, my generation, who's tech savvy, has an iPhone or a Samsung device, is in the industry. They're designers, architects, or engineers. They understand that this is a problem, that taking photos, going back to your computer, and having to pre-format these things into reports is very time-consuming, and they're all looking for a good solution. I think after them, it's going to be their superiors, their project managers, people above them, who, once they see the app and see how simple it is to use, that's the main goal, is to make this as simple as possible. The architecture, engineering, and construction industry is notorious for being slow to adopt change. They're used to old ways of doing things. It's just, it's ingrained and it works, so I change. But once they see how easy it is to use and how much time it can save them, they'll be the next group to adopt.
So today, they don't know about this product. So I'm a step before what you're describing.
Sure.
Okay. So they have challenges because they have to bring it back to the computer and tag it and all of that. So my question to you is that to what degree are they expressing their desire to have a tool that is going to make their jobs easier, or what are some of the steps they take that would show you that they would in fact be embracing of a tool that would make their life easier?
Sure. So,
are there communities that people talk about these things? Are they, because these are not technologists, these are people who have similar problems.
Yeah, there are forums where people go and oftentimes complain about some of the products that we have to use. AutoCAD and Revit, two programs built by a company called Autodesk, are two of them. And those programs are incredibly important to the work that we do. We use them on a daily basis. Sometimes they don't work the way that we'd like them to. There's a disconnect between software developers in particular, the programs they develop, and the end users themselves. There's a sort of misunderstanding of what it actually is that we do and what they think that we do and what they think will be useful for us. With respect to photographs, the importance of photographs is well known. As someone who works with existing buildings, I rely very heavily on photographs to understand a building that was built long before I came onto the scene. The photograph itself helps paint a narrative that then I incorporate and put into the design of the new building. Sometimes with this process, it can take such a long time that companies don't put it into the budget and it gets overlooked entirely, which is a huge mistake, but sometimes there isn't any money for it. That's not only bad for today, but for working professionals 50 years from now when they look back and they don't have these photographs to look at. So
now let's move to the product for a second. Are there a set of when someone goes and does the survey, right? Whether they do it for architectural reasons or the inspection or regulations, so on and so forth. When they go through the process and take pictures and look at different things, are there in fact set of formats that they follow? Like, for example, everybody takes, this percentage of the picture is going to be of the ceiling, this percentage is going to be about the survey lines, this percentage is going to be about the things. Is there a format associated with that so that some percentage of the overall work is going to be common among all the people who are going to be conducting this type of survey?
There really should be a format for that. There needs to be some standards in place for this.
But it's highly personalized today?
As it works now, it really comes down to the working professional and their experience. When I do these building surveys, I start on the outside. I work around the building if I can, walk all the way around, and then I'll make my way inside. It's a very methodical approach.
So the reason I'm asking that is because I wanted to know whether that methodology is going to get integrated into your solution and offering, so it becomes really an added advantage to what you're offering, which is not just automation, but it's a methodology that you're going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll agree.
Yeah, so there's really two important factors here. And talking to who's going to adopt this product, the first person is the person who's already doing this. They're doing surveys, they're going back and they're uploading it to their machines and doing this the manual way. For those people, what we're going to be doing is providing sort of default flag sets, right? Which is, hey, I come in, what are you taking a survey of? I'm taking a survey of this building. Okay, great. Here are all the things you need to do, right? Those are definitely things that we can incorporate into the product. The second set is the people that aren't currently taking photos because they don't have a tool to do it with. They don't have any mechanism to do this. So what happens often on a job site, right? The subcontractor shows up, the plumber shows up and says, I can't put my pipe through that wall because there's a stud right there, right? And what he does right now is he sends a message to somebody or sends an email to somebody, and that is problematic because it doesn't fully describe the situation. So the basic premise is here, take the photo of what he's talking about, touch it, record a message, and then share that within the group to say, I can't put my pipe through this wall.
You don't think today they take a picture and put a text underneath it and send it to someone?
They do. But what you have to understand is that a photo with text under it is when you're taking a photo of 17 different light switches,
right.
Which light switch are we talking about? Which pipe are we talking about?
It definitely is not
it's not as
what
descriptive.
you're offering, but it's incrementally different than not being able to take a picture.
And you would be surprised at how much people are not taking pictures.
So this is actually why the heart of my question.
Sure.
Because if this in fact, if today's world with smartphone that people take pictures and make comments, even they are able to write on it and all of that. Right, but then how does the person with that profile end up getting introduced to the service? How do you connect the bridge? That's why I was asking questions about the profile.
Sure, no, it's a really good question.
So your description of the problem is a challenge of penetration.
Sure, no, absolutely, you're absolutely right. I think that one of the things that's important, and Steve touched on this in the deck, was this collaborative effect, which is the architect, who's the most sophisticated person on the job site, who's most inclined to use this technology, is going to come in, set up a photo survey, and say, all of the information that you guys need is on photo survey. And in fact, when he shares that as an email, the email comes across and says, download the app and install it on your phone to view all of this stuff that this architect just sent you. So fundamentally, the architect comes in and infects the job site, right? Mm-hmm. And now that the job site's been infected and the construction worker goes, wow, I have so much more visibility into what I'm doing this. And then that construction worker goes to the next site and says, can't you just set me up with a photo survey like the last guy did? Like, this is a way better tool. So now effectively, the construction worker that moves on to the next job site does this. And this isn't just our thinking about this. This is how the tool's being used today. So we've proven a 40-cent user acquisition cost with the proof of concept that Patrick originally developed. And then with that 40-cent user acquisition cost, we actually stopped advertising because we had no monetization mechanism in place yet. So we stopped advertising, and there has still been a viral engine of growth today. So in the last month, there was a whatever it is, 30% increase in our user base.
So can you give me your absolute numbers as far as how many architects are using it, and in what amount of time, and so that I can get a sense of the penetration?
Sure. So we're at 1,800 users to date.
Do you know what percentage of them are architects?
I know that at the very beginning, I sent it out to my professional network, and that probably accounts for a fraction of that.
How do you define a user? Someone who signs up and downloads the app?
Who continues to interact with that app.
How do you measure that?
Based on, so using Google Analytics in the Google Play Store, I can see who installs the app, and then at a certain point in time, how many people still have that application on their phone. So
they haven't deleted it?
They haven't deleted it yet.
So it's not really usage, because Google Analytics really just measures the application.
Right, so what I can tell is that it's been installed and it still exists on the phone. In the next version of the application, we're going to introduce a series of other analytical tools that are going to be able to tell us what buttons a person is using.
So 1,800 people downloaded this app?
Yes.
And in what period of time?
About
4 months.
4 months or so, yeah.
With
And
only how much advertising budget?
$440.
Yeah.
So that's how we, And so that difference between 1,800 and 1,100. 1,100 is what we use to calculate the 40 user acquisition cost. Those are the numbers that we were able to.
That's what's important.
Do you have a dialogue going on with this 1,800 users?
So this is the problem. So Patrick did all this all by himself. He taught himself how to code. He went out there, this thing, he dropped it in and it took off, right? And he said, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then he roped us in, right? And in the last couple of weeks, I'm a professional software developer and been doing this for a very long time and know how to put these analytics in place. Just didn't know how to do that at the time. So what we're
That
working
way
on
you will know
is-
who is using it
Absolutely.
and for what reason. And then you can create these clusters so that your idea of an architect basically having the penetration within a job site, then you can see whether that's happening or not.
That's absolutely right. And the other thing that's really important to note is that our version that we're launching that's fully collaborative and ready to roll that we can monetize in July, the next few months are all geared around actually testing other market segments outside of architecture, which is a really important thing to identify because this notion of taking photographs and annotating them is used in claims adjustments for car accidents. It's used, the sheriff's departments have approached us, right, to say, we want to utilize this on crime scenes to take photos and document what we see so that our conviction rates go up, right? Research institutes are using it, art departments, right? So we don't know, even if it's going to end up being, even if AEC is going to end up being the primary market, we're starting there because Patrick has an expertise there, but it could be, we could
But
find out
don't you
that-
think every one of these applications end up giving a different flavor to the platform? And you're going to need to basically have, because the end user wants to see it based on their own environment.
Sure, yeah.
So
Yes,
are
and-
you in fact going to launch it in 3 or 4 different environments and end up with different versions of the software?
Yeah, and I think, so one of the reasons we went with 2 different development teams is that one of them specializes in server-side e-commerce development.
Oh, and you're
They're-
the one user interface.
And the other one is user interface. So now, as long as we have a good server-side development, then we can begin to plug in different front ends depending on the market and depending on what direction we want to go. So
Okay. I see
And there's
that.
different, there's potentially different monetization models for those different industries, right? So if you're
Right.
doing property management, maybe you're selling a survey one-off for $1, right? Or maybe you're selling it for $10, whatever that is.
But you're
Again,
figuring
all of
those
this,
things
this
out.
is all a matter of testing, right? It's just
So are you
standing
going to
up
have
direct
an
marketing.
insurance claim adjuster, another expert in other markets, who also become your team
That's
members?
exactly right. I don't know that necessarily
How are
team
you
I don't know
members.
about core team members.
Because
but-
that's part of your pitch, that
Right.
there's someone who knows the.
Right.
Right, so that's the market that Patrick's professional network is in, that we
Right.
can get to the fastest.
Okay.
But again, once the software work,
I'm supposed to let you guys go.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really
great
appreciate it.
questions, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.